Hey, it's Kevin here with Q&A Wednesday, and I'm going to answer the question for you, how do buttons work with Groove? So buckle up, let's take a look at the two different kinds of buttons and how they work with Groove. But before we get into the video, make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss any video we put out here at Groove Tutorials. All right, let's take a look at how buttons work in Groove. So let's talk about buttons. Along the way, we're going to talk about two kinds of buttons, and the one you see right here is what's called, I'm going to click on it, and you can see down here in the breadcrumbs, it's called a form submit button. And this button has its own unique settings that are different than what we would call just a normal button. So what I'm going to do to show you how this works is I'm going to go add a normal button, and if you see here it says buttons, and I have a saved button, but you can go to designed buttons and choose any of these. I'm just going to grab one that looks similar to this and pull it in here and put it, under the image. So you can see the difference between the two buttons. So we have a button here and a button here. This is a form submit button. This is what's just called a button. So let's configure this button and let's see what it can do. We're going to click on the gear right here. And inside the gear we have at the top, this is where we're going to define what the button does. So it's a link. Every time you click this button, it's going to link to either nothing, or to a page, to a block on this page, to a website URL somewhere else, to one of your blogs, your stores, or to a pop-up. And so in this case, I'm going to go ahead and send this to a page just so you see how that works. So I'm going to click page, and I'm going to say send us to the OTO page, which is another page that's already in this template. So this is the link that we set up here, and then the second thing we do is we change the label on the button. Get your copy now. When we're setting up this button, we can also add sublabels, and they're going to show up. I'll just do first sub line so you can see how they work. You can add a second, a third, second sub line, and this would just be information about the button. You can add a left icon, and let's just say arrow, and we'll put it on the left like this. You can add a right icon, and we're going to do the same thing here, arrow, and we're going to go pointing to the left now. For now, that's all I'm going to change. So we changed the link, what it does, we changed the text that's going to be on the button, and we added icons to both sides. So let's click update and close. All right, now you can see. So the button now says, get your copy now. You can see the two lines of text that show up as sublines on the button, and the two different kinds of arrows that I put on it as icons that go on the button. So all of this can be changed at any point by clicking the gear, and all of this, we could change what the icon is. Let's see, icon horizontal distance. Let's move it a little bit further away from the text, and you can see it just moved it a little bit. But that is a regular button. Now, what I want to show you the difference between how the buttons function is, you saw how this one works. Now let's go look at this one. Again, the difference being this is a form submit button, and this is just a button. Two different kinds of buttons. Now, if we go here and try to do the same thing, over here we clicked on it and clicked the gear. So if we click on the gear here, you're going to see that we have the text, so your free copy now. So we can control what text is on the button, but we don't have the ability to change what it's linked to. The only thing this button is going to do is either submit the form or reset the form. And what we typically want that to do is submit the form. That's the only thing that we have in configuration for a form submit button. So let's update that and close it. Now we have our text changed. So you might ask the question, okay, so how do we tell it where it's going to go? And the answer is, the way I show people to do this is click between the input fields, somewhere in between, and you will find that you are either on a form container, or in the case where we have a Groove mail form, which we're going to use later in this build, you would see Groove mail form. You see it right there. So in this case, we're going to go to the form container. Now we have the gear here that's going to give us more of what we saw on the link on the regular button. So we click the gear, And you can see that the form is going to use an integration, 4 steps to September, and this is where we give it the redirect link. So in other words, when you have a form submit button, you're going to click on the button, it's going to submit the form, and then the form defines where it goes. So on this one, we would say, let's go to the thank you page, update and close. So let's look at it, just how it looks when it's a GrooveMail form. I'm just going to grab one here. When it's a GrooveMail form, we click on it, we put the form, and again, we tell it that it's going to go to, let's go to the same thing, update and close. All right, so same thing, we have a button. This is a form submit button. When we click the gear on a form submit, we can change the text and we can tell it to submit the form, but it's between the two fields. We get to the GrooveMail form, or on this template, we'd get to the form container. That's where we define the link for where the button goes. You're ready now to put your own buttons on your own pages and configure them and make them work exactly the way you want to. Hey, I want to tell you about a special we have going on now through the end of the year. It was initially a Cyber Week special, but it's been so popular, we're going to head and leave it out there until December 31, 2022. And you can get all 9 courses that include amazing tips like this. Make sure you go to the site and see what all is included. It includes 9 courses on the 9 apps within Groove. It includes bonuses of a Groove membership that I have. It includes a bonus of Groove Answers Fast. There's tons of resources included. A $2,700 value that you're going to get for $449, and it's only happening till the end of the year. Go over to the site, take a look, join us over in Groove for Growth, and let's keep growing our Groove ability. All right, thanks for joining us. I'll see you next week on Q&A Wednesday.